Now, speaking of great days, Celebration Europe, Star Wars Celebration, the big convention that had the rollout.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not, like, I love Australia. It's my home. All my friends there, my family. I'm not too nationalistic in like the Olympics and that sort of thing. I want everyone to have a good time. But when you walked out, Australian Ben Mendelsohn in the white cape, flanked by death troopers, I've never been prouder to be an Australian. I could have slammed 3 meat pies right then.
Oh, I'd love a 4 and 20. They're hard to get over here. Yeah, that was yeah, I'm glad we did that. I'm glad we did that. Look, I mean, personally, I'm not, I get the whole behind the scenes thing and stuff and, you know, wanting to talk to the different actors and whatnot. But I felt, and Kathy Kennedy and co got very excited at the idea that why don't we give them why don't we chuck a bit of spectacle in there and go out in costume with the Death Troopers. No one had seen the Death Troopers before, and yeah, that was a good thing. It was a good feeling in the hall. They loved it. It was awesome.
Now, you're a pretty great actor. You're really good. That's from me. You can put that on your bio. But Orson Krennic seemed to have this hidden smirk under his grimace that day. It seemed like you were having a pretty good time.
I loved it. I loved it. I mean, I loved it. I loved it. The reaction was awesome. It was a good feeling in the hall. It was just a good feeling in the hall. And I was, I was pretty proud to be trotting out that whole, that whole costume and that whole vibe. That was good fun. Yeah, so you were right. You picked up on that. There was a bit of a, I was happy to be doing it.
Now, I've listened to an interview with you where you stated that you don't give, and I quote, and this is very Australian, it might need some translation, a rat's ass if the actor enjoys the film or whatever. But as Star Wars fans, we kind of really have fingers crossed that the actors involved, are going to be in it. And I advise everyone never to look up Alec Guinness's opinions on Star Wars because you could leave the internet feeling a little bit sad.
From a certain point of view.
But what did you make of, like, just the energy in that hall? I listened back, like, I actually was recording in that hall and sort of, doing a commentary. And when you came out, there was, like, there's just one lone Australian just like, Mendo!
Where were you? Where were you sitting?
I was just like towards the front.
Yeah, right.
You cruise right past, and it was, which is weird because it's like a really Australian thing. When you see anyone from Australia somewhere else, it's like, hey!
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It is. Like, it was a fantastic energy. And I mean, like, the thing about when something's live, there's a real, there's a vibe that goes between you and the audience if it's on song, and that was a vibe. That was a great vibe. That was a great vibe. You could just feel the sort of the recognition go across from when people saw it, and then people started standing up and leaning forward and, recording it and whatnot. People were happy. People, people loved it. I mean, Celebration's fantastic. I mean, I've only done one, but the vibe and, like the really, really deep fans of it, they get enormous parts of it and they just take a lot of pleasure. And there was a kid there that was dressed in a little Krennic out. He was like one of the early adopters.
After months, years of fawning over his white cape, Ben Mendelsohn is on the Steele Wars podcast,
where we discuss all things Star Wars and the nature of immeasurable power.
Mendo.